Hey everybody, welcome back to another WV Guns and Goats tabletop video. Tonight we are keeping it simple with an unboxing and first impressions of this Cyelee Ghost HDG optic. This is a large window, multiple reticle red dot optic that fits the RMR footprint. So if you like big dots and you cannot lie, well, this might be an optic worth looking at. We're going to go over the box, open it up, and I'll show you everything that comes with the optic here. We'll also look at the optic itself and all its features. But before we do, how about you go ahead and headbutt that subscribe button to join the herd here at WV Guns and Goats. Now I have to say that this was provided to us by the people at Cyelee Optics. They reached out to me and asked if I'd like to review it, and I said I would because I had actually watched some videos on their optics before they reached out to me, and people seem to have pretty good luck with them, so hopefully my experience is the same as theirs. You can find their optics at CyeleeOptics.com. I've heard it pronounced Cyelee before, but I like how Cyelee sounds, so that's how I'm going to pronounce it. So looking at this side of the box here, we have the window dimensions, which are 1.04 inches by 0.88 inches, and it's IPX7. Now the dimensions are right here. I'm going to go ahead and put the SRO dimensions on the screen. As I read these, it's 2.1 inches by 1.4 inches by 1.34 inches, so you can see how it compares to a Trijicon SRO, and it weighs about 2 ounces. It says it's made for duty and carry. Now on this side, we have fully submersible red dot. We have 3 different reticles here, a 2 MOA dot and a 26 MOA circle, and then you have the option of having the circle dot reticle right there. I'm going to go ahead and read these features off here. It's 7075 T6 aluminum unibody, and then it has an optional button lockout mode. It's for the RMR 407 and 507C footprints. It has 8 daylight modes, 2 night vision settings. It has a motion deactivated standby, so it has a sleep mode after 5 minutes, and then it also has a shake awake mode. And it's up to 50,000 hours from a CR1632 battery. And it has the 3 reticle options I went over there. The adjustments are 1 MOA click adjustments, and it says it's rated for a drop on a pistol onto concrete from 6 feet high. So let's go ahead, open this up, and we'll see what's in the box. All right, here's everything that comes in the box with the optic. We've got a microfiber cleaning cloth. We've got a sticker for your toolbox or your gun safe. Right here, we've got 2 different tools in here. One's an Allen key, and the other is kind of like an Allen key flathead screwdriver hybrid. Here's the optic itself. We can see this is a pretty large optic. We'll look at it closer here in a moment. Then we have these 3 cards right here. This first one's showing you a 5-yard 0, a 10-yard 0, and a 25-yard 0. This one is showing you which way the dot is going to move in relation to which way you're adjusting the windage and elevation screws. And this one is a checklist to make sure that the optic is not overhanging the ejection port on your pistol, which can cause cycling issues. Right here, this is the most amount of screws I have ever seen come with a single optic. They've really covered all their bases for anything you'd like to mount this optic to, and we will go over just how many packages of screws are in that baggie, but that is everything that comes in the box. Here's the optic itself. Looking at the left side, we've got some buttons here, a nice big window right here, and we have a battery compartment right here on the right side. And then you can see that the optic is on. I've tried getting it to focus so I could show you the reticle on the video here, but I wasn't able to, so I'll just put the images on the screen again of those 3 different reticles, the dot, the circle, and the circle dot. On the left side of the optic here, we have some buttons. Now to turn this optic on, you press the up button and it will turn on to the last brightness level that you turned it off at. To turn this optic off, press and hold the down button. Now the thing is, if you turn this optic off manually by pressing and holding the down button, you will disable the shake awake mode and the sleep mode. So if you want to use the sleep mode and the shake awake, you need to leave the optic on and it'll turn itself off after 5 minutes of inactivity. If you want to change the reticles, you press and hold the up button and it will change to the next reticle. I found out it will not cycle through those reticles. I actually had to let off the button and press and hold it a second time if I wanted to get to the second reticle, and then I had to press and hold it a third time to get to the third reticle. But I guess it kind of makes it nice that you can't just accidentally cycle through to a reticle that you don't want. You actually have to deliberately press and hold that button. Now we can see here these two really big ears on the body of the optic, and we can see here that they are not connected to this middle portion of the optic. That's because the middle portion is what the glass is attached to. So they wanted to make this a really tough optic and use these bumpers here to take the impact instead of the piece of the optic that holds the glass in, which should, in theory, make this a much tougher optic, because these two loops right here will be taking that force since they're much higher than the center section here, and the part of the scope that holds the glass is not taking a beating there. Now we have a 1632 battery inside of this compartment. It is included with the optic, and you may have to take this off. I think I had to open this up and take a little piece of paper off of that battery so that it would make contact, so it's not turned on in shipping. Now, something nice about these adjustments right here, your up and your windage adjustment, and let me put this down for a minute and get the tool. All right, so what you don't often see on these inexpensive red dots are click adjustments. A lot of times they just feel like a tension adjustment, but listen here closely and see if you can hear this. They are actually clicking when I turn the elevation and the windage knobs here. They have actual click adjustments. But the other thing I wanted to touch on is this bag of screws as well, because there's so many in this bag. Let's get into that right now. I'll open this up and look at this. All these screws here for mounting this optic. I have actually borrowed 2 of these screws to mount a different optic on a different gun, but let's go ahead and look at some we get here. So we have a 632 by 0.472, and you get 3 of these screws, and they have Loctite on them as well. Then we have a 640 by 0.5 inches, 648 by 0.437, M3.5 by 0.6, an M3 by 0.5, a 440 by 0.315, 648 by 0.374, M4 by 0.7, 440 by 0.374, 632 by 0.374, 640 by 0.374, 440 by 0.250, 648 by 0.315. Here's the ones I borrowed for another optic. M4 by 0.7, 632nd by 0.315, and finally we have 632nds by 0.433. So that's 1, 2,
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
16 different bags of screws with 3 screws each, and each screw is Loctited, so you shouldn't have an issue mounting this optic right here to whatever you need to mount it to. So one of the things in the manual that it says this optic has been pre-calibrated on a rig at the factory, pre-sighted in, and you have to sight it in at 25 yards. It says to use a laser bore sighter initially and then finish your sight in at 25 yards, and you shouldn't need a lot of adjustment to bring it to its final zero. Now, one of the things I did notice about this is, see those gaps right there? You can see the mat through those gaps. I think if you're using this outside, you're going to get rain in there, but you're also going to get mud and debris. If you happen to drop your pistol with this optic on it, some of that stuff is going to get into those gaps there, and you'll have to clean it out. But we'll find out when we go out to the range with this optic. Now, one of the things is, I think this is a pretty interesting optic and an inexpensive large window optic. If you're looking to try out an optic with a larger window, you can see these run around $283.99 on the manufacturer's website here. So guys, thanks for joining me for this unboxing of the Cyelee Ghost HDG optic. This has been another WV Guns and Goats video, and remember, if you're not out there having fun shooting, what are you doing?